Hey viewers, welcome back to our channel. Hope you are doing extremely well. So today we are going to discuss another interesting question on the topic of dynamic programming, that is nothing but tiling with 2x1 tiles. So without wasting time, let's try to understand the problem statement. In this question, we are provided with the number n, and this number n is nothing but the width of a wall which we need to be tiled up with 2x1 tiles. Okay, so let's write some important information. We are provided with number n, and this number n is nothing but tells the dimension of the wall, that is 2 cross n wall, and we need to design this wall with the 2 cross 1 tiles. And at last we just need, as an output, we just need to tell the number of ways with which we can design this wall. Okay, I hope you get the basic parts which is written into the problem statement. Let's try to understand it with an example. So here I'm taking 2 cross 3 tile. So, sorry, 2 cross 3 wall. So we need to design this 2 cross 3 wall with the 2 cross 1 tiles, and we need to tell the different ways with which we will be able to design it. So what if I will say that at first I will do nothing, I just place all my tiles horizontally one after the another. Sorry, I just place all my tiles vertically one after the another. So if I place all my tiles vertically, then it will be look like this. Okay, so here the height is 2, and here I have placed 3 tiles of width 1. So this is one of the way of placing the tiles. Similarly, if I talk about the second way of placing the tiles, it will be nothing but placing placing tiles horizontally, 2 tiles horizontally one over the another, and placing one of the tile vertically. So here you can see their dimensions are still maintained. The height will be 2, the width will be 3. And this is nothing but a second way of designing my wall. Similarly, if I talk about the third way of designing my wall, it will be nothing but placing this vertical tile at the beginning and then placing the horizontal tiles. Okay, and this will be nothing but the third way. So here you can see that we can place our tiles in a 3-way. We can design up my walls with the tile 2 cross 1 tiles in 3 ways. Okay, so you just need to solve this question for 2 cross n wall. Okay, so let's try to understand the solution part. So the question which we were discussing right now, or actually based on some of the question which we have already done. So we have done a question in which we need to tell how to move, how to reach from destination from a source, and we need to, and in that question we need to tell the number of ways with which we can reach from source to destination. So what was our faith in that question? The faith in that question was nothing but the source know how to reach to the intermediate state, and intermediate state already knows how to reach the destination. Means there's some intermediate state, and intermediate state already knows that there are some ways of reaching to the destination, and the source just need to reach to this intermediate state. Okay, so if I talk about the total number of ways of reaching from source to destination is nothing but 7. Now you might be thinking that how our question is actually dependent on this question. So here our source, here actually our source is nothing but a blank wall, undecorated wall, or the blank wall. Okay, and our destination is nothing but a decorated or the tiled wall. Okay, so I hope you get it. What is our source and destination? Source is the blank wall and the destination is the tiled wall. Now what are the intermediate state in this question? Now we know how to place a single tile. Like we know that we are provided with a tile. Okay, and yeah, we are provided with a tile, and we can either place it horizontally, we can place it either vertically, and also we already know what are the dimensions of a wall. Dimensions of wall is nothing but 2 cross n. So we can easily place either a tile vertically, either a tile horizontally. So let's move here. Let's try to draw it here. We can either place our tile either vertically, either horizontally. Now the remaining space. Now what our faith will be, the remaining space already know how to tile up itself. Just like the previous question, like the question which we discussed during the intuition part. Just like that, here also the remaining part or the intermediary part already know how to reach to the destination, how to tile up itself. Similarly, this intermediary part already know how to tile up itself. Okay, so Wait. So the remaining dimensions is here the width of tile is 1, so n minus 1. This n minus 1 part already know how to tile up itself. Similarly here the remaining part is nothing but n minus 2, just because the width of tile is 2 this time, just because we have placed it horizontally. Okay, this n minus 2 part will already know how to tile up itself. Now when it comes to tell the different number of ways of tiling the walls, we just do nothing, we just add both of these values. Okay, it is our fate. Now you might be thinking that there is one more space which is left behind or untiled, that is this space. So let's try to understand that how we will tile up this space. So to understand it, we will move a little bit mathematically at first. So we know the height of the wall is nothing but 2, okay, and the width of a wall is nothing but n. Okay, but this time as I have placed my tiles horizontally, so this time the height of my tile is nothing but 1. So tile of 1, and the width of my tile is nothing but 2. So you can see here that my wall is of 2 height, and among from this 2, one is already blocked by a single tile which we have placed here. Now the remaining height is nothing but 1. This height is nothing but 1, which on which we need to place something. This height is 1. But but here also there are two options with which we can place a tile. Either we can place it horizontally, either we can place it vertically. But what if I say that we can't place our tile vertically here? Just because you can see when we place our tile vertically, the height of the tile will become 2, but we are only left with a height of 1 wall. Means we can't place a tile vertically. Here we can only place a tile as horizontally. When the tile of the when the height of a tile will become exact equal to the remaining height of a wall. Okay, I hope you get it, that why we placed yeah, so I hope you get it why we place the tile here horizontally. So what are the number of ways of putting the or designing that wall? Is it 2? No, it is 1. Why? Just because here we don't have two options. Here we have only one option, that is placing the tile horizontally. So this the number of ways of designing this part is 1, and the number of ways of designing this remaining part, that is n minus 2 part, is something which is already calculated by the recursive function. Okay, the faith which we have applied to this part, it will go and calculate itself, and it will come up with a number of ways. Now what is the final number of ways with which we can tile up this whole portion? Is nothing but this 1 into this. I'm assuming that I have passed it to the some function, okay, recursive function. Okay, if f n minus 2, why it is 1 into function of n minus 2? Just because the total number of ways is nothing but this part of designing this part and this part is nothing but the multiplication of the way of designing the first part, and then the number of ways of designing the second part, multiplication of both the parts. As this part can be designed in only a single way, so we can say in short that this part, the way of designing of this part, the number of ways of designing this whole part is nothing but the way of designing of this part. Why I'm saying this? Just because this way can be designed only a single way. So that means when I perform a product between both of these values, it will give me nothing but the number of ways which I can design only this part. I hope you get it. So I hope you get it, but I explain right now. Let me remove something, and then let me make it a little bit more spacious to write something here. Okay, so here at last I'm going to explain the same thing, our intuition. The first thing is that the faith which we are applying to this recursive call, the faith is we know how to place a single tile. We can place a tile either horizontally or either vertically. So here we have placed our tile vertically, and here we have placed our tile horizontally. Okay, the moment when we place our tile horizontally means in this part, the number of the remaining dimensions, that is the n minus 1 dimensions, our faith is that this dimension already know how to tile up itself. Okay, this dimension tiled up itself, and when it comes to know, I just place this tile and I'll say that this is the total number of ways of placing the tiles of designing the wall. Similarly, in this part, let me erase something from here also. Okay, here also you can see that we have placed our tile horizontally, and there is some part which is left remaining. This part looks something like this. Okay, now there is a question that arise during our discussion, that how do we means we need to tile up this whole part. Okay, and according to our faith, this whole part get tiled up by itself, then because it was a faith. But when we discuss, we come to know that the total number of ways we get from the whole part is nothing but the total number of ways of tiling with this part only. Why this part? Just because we already know there is only one way of placing the tiles in this sub part. There is the part which is left after placing one tile. Okay, so when we perform the multiplication between both of these values, we get a single value which is nothing but the number of ways of placing the tiles in the second part. Let me name it as second. Okay, the second part. So what we do here also, we just place this a single tile, and we will say that yes, this is the number of ways of placing the tile, of placing a single tile horizontally. Okay, so I hope you get the intuition of this question. Let's move on to the Pepcoding portal and then try to write the code. So here we are on the Pepcoding portal. Let me remove it. And so at first, what we'll do, we will create a main function here. Okay, if let me increase the font size at first, just because it is quite invisible to you. I hope that this time it will be visible to you. Yeah, it is visible now. So if name equals to main, yeah, okay. There, so we have created a main function. Now let's take the input for n equals to 8 int input. Okay, now let's call the function number of ways, which is tell us the number of ways of styling the wall. Pass n as a parameter. So let's create this function def. Okay, wait. So now it will good if number of ways. Okay, ways, ways, number of ways. Now the first thing we do in this function is nothing. We create a list count, and we have created a list, and we know that list can add up. We can add up any number of elements in the list, but we want it to be of the size of n plus 1. So for that, what I will do, so I will place n plus 1 zeros in my count list. So for I in range n plus 2. So we know that this function means our loop will start iterating from 0 to n plus 1. Now what I'll do, a count dot appending 0 at the end. So I have placed n plus 1 zeros in my count list. Now let me initialize some of the values. That is count 0 as 0. Why count 0 as 0? Just because if there is no width, means if there is no wall, then is there any way to decorate it? No, there is no way. Similarly, if count 1 is 1, means if the width of that wall is 1, there is only one way of decorating it, that is placing the tile vertically. Similarly, count 2 equals to 2. But count 2, when the count is 2, means when the width is 2, there are two ways of placing it. That is, either we can place vertically all the tiles, either we can place horizontally all the tiles. Now let's run a loop for I in range 3 to n plus 1. Okay, And what I'll do, we have placed a single tile and uh, we have placed a single tile, and now the remaining part, the remaining dimensions will already tiled up by itself. Okay, it is our faith of the function, means the remaining part, that is I minus 1, tiled up itself, and we will count the number of ways it tiled itself, and at last we just do nothing, return count of n. So this is our function. Let's try to run it. So yeah, we get an error. Let's try to resolve it. Okay. Okay, I just forgot to write in here for I in range. Okay, that is a small mistake. Yeah, it is accepted. Oh, as it is accepted. So that's all for this video. I hope you get the intuition of this question. I hope you get the solution of this video. So if you like that video, hit the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and please share this video with your friends. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy.